Everyone, Happy New Year! I hope you're excited about what this year has to offer and wishing that you get it all accomplished. So, on today's episode, Ty and I are going to introduce ourselves and our founder stories. Then we'll go into authentic ambitions and all that we have planned for it. And then following this, a quick little Q&A and whatever little surprise we want to throw in there. So basically, buckle up, sit back, and let's enjoy the ride. To kick it off, my name is Starah Dixon, and I am the founder of Mitsu's, an online retailer that offers curated home decor and entertainment wear for those who believe in making bold statements with their homes without having to say a word. So our pieces are designed and inspired by storytellers. So the hosts and the tastemakers who express their individuality through artistry, quality, craftsmanship, and timeless design. Every item in our collection is carefully selected for its ability to spark conversation, turn heads, and inspire because with us, our goal is to not only help you decorate your home, but it's also to help you captivate and connect. You may be wondering why I chose to get into the space. So I entered the space because of my love of artistry and just all around decorating my home. For example, like my husband and I moved from Georgia all the way cross country to like last year, pretty much. And within the first 2 or 3 days, I was able to actually like fully decorate out my home. So I'd say maybe 90% of it was done. One of the things that I noticed about that made that transition a lot easier is just the fact that like for the most part, majority of the pieces that we have in our homes were intentionally purchased. So they were pieces that basically said a lot about our family, our stories, the things that we value, and also even the things that the way that we want to be perceived. So with that came the fact that we started to also do events. And we noticed that people, whenever they used to come inside of our homes, they would remark on different little pieces that spoke to them and just ask questions like, oh, how'd you get that? Or what did this mean to you? And to be honest, some of those pieces were just nice and just happened to like flow very well with our decor, but at the same time, it was still intentionally set. So, with that, and also with understanding that art does cost a lot, I decided to come up with the concept of Mitsus. And that's when, and so then I decided to come with the concept of Mitsus, just the ability for people to easily decorate their homes with timeless designs without having to like do the rat race of going through purchasing trendy pieces that one season may work and another season it won't, which that works sometimes, but just not the way that I like to decorate for the most part. So, yeah, that's pretty much like my story. And I would love to get into it a little bit more, but yeah. And Ty, now to you.
Yes, that was amazing. And definitely, well, hi again, everyone. My name is Tysheda. I am the founder and CEO of Luxury Travels by Dreamy Designer Events, where we curate retreats as well as elite travel worldwide so you can rediscover yourself and your purpose. So welcome. This is our Authentic Ambitions, Inspiring Brands and Bold Leaders. I couldn't be more excited to be here with you, sharing this incredible platform with my co-host and business partner, Star. This series has been so close and near and dear to our hearts because it represents everything that we believe in:
Mhm.
authenticity, community, and creating space for real, meaningful conversations about the journeys that shape us. My story starts over a decade ago when I began my entrepreneur journey. I've always had a passion for creating unforgettable experiences, whether that was through transformational retreats, my work in luxury travel by Dreamy Designer Events, or helping others unlock their full potential. One of my biggest joys has been designing elite travel experiences for my clients, whether they're planning a family getaway, a trip with friends, solo journey, or just rediscovering their self. My favorite are special occasions like weddings and milestones. I am a sucker for pictures, for all those special occasions, because it really makes me connect with my clients, but it also celebrates a really important part of their life that I'm a part of. So to me, travel is more than just going somewhere new. It's about creating moments that bring people together, fostering connections, and leaving a lasting impact. Seeing my clients light up from these experiences fuels my passion every single day. Beyond travel, my work has taken me across more than 20 countries, where I've had the honor of facilitating retreats that help people rediscover their purpose, recharge their energy, and ignite their exponential growth in their personal and professional lives. But this work isn't just about traveling to beautiful destinations or hosting events. It's about creating the space for breakthroughs. I've seen firsthand how stepping outside of the grind just for a moment can lead to some of the biggest aha moments, and it's really life-changing. My passion lies in showing entrepreneurs, leaders, and visionaries that rest isn't a luxury. It's a strategy for sustainable success. It's about intentionally creating space to reconnect with yourself, your goals, and your vision. And that's why this series means so much to us. Authentic Ambitions, Inspiring Brands, and Bold Leaders was created to shine a light on the people behind the brands, their stories, their struggles, their resilience. It's about celebrating the raw, unfiltered journey of entrepreneurship and showing that success isn't just about numbers. It's about impact, connection, and authenticity. When I think about why I do what I do, it all comes back to one word: transformation. Whether it's through designing retreats that give people the space to reset, creating luxury experience that foster connections, or working with leaders to elevate their visibility and voice. Our mission is to empower others to see what's possible when they give themselves the permission to step outside of their purpose. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here and to share this platform with incredible entrepreneurs and leaders throughout this entire year. Together, Star and I are on a mission to amplify bold voices, build relationships, and inspire others to embrace their own authentic ambitions.
So here to 2025. Woo, 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 woo. So actually now just to get to know you a little bit better, I do have a few questions that I have lined up. If you wouldn't mind entertaining me and everyone else, please.
Sure.
So, for people who are looking to get into your industry, what would be like an advice that you would give them, like so that they're not just like completely in shock?
So, anyone that's looking to get into the industry, it depends on what part of the industry, but I would say the biggest thing is to follow whatever you're passionate about. So, for
Mhm.
people who are
Mhm.
looking to get into it, I always tell people, like, if you like to travel, that's a completely different thing because the industry itself, it has a lot of components to it. Like your passion has to not only lie with wanting to create people with places and actually making sure that they have a full experience while they're there, but also making sure that they care about the actual planning part of it, the actual making sure that the clients are getting what they want, to make sure that also you're being authentic with the clients and being real with them, because it's not about a numbers game. It's not about, okay, well, this one is more expensive, this one is less expensive. It's about actually making sure that they're getting exactly what they want to get. And if they're coming to you with something that you're kind of sketchy about, be honest with them, because that's like a really big thing. It's kind of one of those things where to actually want to get in the door, the first step is being honest with your clients, and that will keep them coming back to you, because that's one thing where it's kind of one of those things where people want to be online. Everything looks amazing, everything looks great, and on top of that, sometimes the certain protocols and what to do, what not to do in certain places are not really clear, or people
Mhm.
kind of miss over that. And that's kind of where you want to step in and you want to be honest with them in terms of what they know. They need to know everything up front, because by the time they get into these destinations, they're excited, they're like seeing all these new things, and they're not going to be trying to figure out. So by the time they get there, if they're missing something, that's the wrong time to figure it out. You want to make sure that they already have everything ahead of time, pre-plan, they're prepared for it, and everything of that manner. And I have a lot of clients too where the biggest thing too is not just providing them whatever they're booking, but making sure you're also giving them travel documents, because you can actually lay everything out there. So any of their know before their goals, anything that's specific to their destination, they can have everything. So even if they're all excited because they're going to a new destination, celebrating a birthday, or going on a retreat, they know they can go and read those documents and they can go over anything that they may have missed or they weren't fully paying attention when you guys were going over it initially.
Yeah, and actually, like two great points. One for sure is like the ability to be honest about like what it is that you're doing for them, and also just like meeting their expectations or having them adjust their expectations. And the second thing actually leads me to my next question, which is I've known you for so long, and I already like one of the things that I admire about you is your ability to really prioritize and make sure that like everything gets checked off. So one, I guess, how do you do that? And what actually got you into being so organized? I mean,
Oh, I feel like that right there has been like almost a childhood thing. I
mhm.
have, ever since I was young, I always like things color coded. I always like things everything had a place, and I wanted to make sure it stayed there. And if it
Yeah.
wasn't in its place, I was trying to figure out who moved it. So that really started when I was younger. And then as I grew up, it
Mhm.
started to be where it was almost like a way of life. It
Mhm.
made things a lot easier to be organized, not only just with my business, but also with my personal life, because
Mhm.
it made sure that things weren't piled up on each other. I wasn't overbooking myself, but it also allowed for me to also create the time for me to have my own self-care moments
Right.
so that everything wasn't like jumbled together. So by that, I use calendars, I use book planners. I love writing. Writing is very good, especially like digital, everything is good, but writing actually like in a book or in a planner, it's just nice because it's like repetitive, but it also helps where you can carry it with you. And it's something that can also disconnect you from technology sometimes when
Yeah.
you have to like look at it or you have to write your own notes. You can do that because sometimes like, you can go into your phone for a calendar and you end up on social media and you don't know how
Yeah.
you ended up there, but you're like, this was not my goal when I was trying to
Mhm.
plan out my week.
Mhm.
So having a planner that you can write in always was good, things of that manner. A few other things are good. It's just keeping yourself organized, and it can be small in the beginning and blocking out your times, making sure if you have something to do, you either write it down, you put it in your phone, or put it on somewhere where you watch it. And then other things that could also help too is they have a ton of different apps, like whether it's calendars, planning, and they actually give you notifications when you have things that are in there. So I use them all the time. I put it in there. So typically when someone's like, "Oh, you want to do something?" I'm like, "Oh, hold up real quick. Let me check my planner because I'm
Naturally with
either
us,
check
yes.
exactly. I either check my
Yeah.
phone, I'm checking my book. I'm checking something because I just can't say yes because I'm like, ooh, I've done that one too many times. Why? Don't ask me. I have a
Mhm.
planner for a reason. But I'll check it. I'm like, oh, nope, okay, perfect. And then I'll put it in there. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you don't let me know and I don't put it in any of my planners, it doesn't exist. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you just tell me something and I'm like, oh, okay, you need to give me a time, a date, maybe an address. That would help too.
Yeah.
I will put it all in there and it just helps me keep everything organized. And I kind of moved all of that over to my business and with my clients because it's so important when people, whether they're on a retreat, whether they're on a trip, to make sure they have everything laid out for them
Mhm.
because you're in a place you've never been before. You're doing all this fun thing. And sometimes you're so excited. You're like, I'm not worried about anything. So all you have to do is look at a paper or look at your phone and be like, oh, this is who we're looking for. If we can't find them, this is a phone number we can call them to make sure that no matter what you're trying to do, it's all laid out. So I kind of use that and put that to my clients because the worst thing you can do is be halfway across the world or even a couple of states over and not have important information. So information I would want to have for my own experiences, I want to make sure my clients have them as well.
Yeah. And also, like, you did tap on to the ability of writing, which even studies have shown is one of the best, well, it probably is the best way, but anyway, one of the best ways to always remember things because you're actually like physically making sure it's written down versus, like using the tech, which, as you said, like, that's fine and all, but like,
Yes,
there is a difference. Yeah.
exactly. Big time.
And the last question that I do have to ask is what is one thing that went wrong in one of your personal travel experiences that you vowed to never like to basically take care of for your client?
Oh, yes. So I would probably say it was two things. It was one trip, but it was two things.
There you go. You're like
So
flashback.
yeah. Oh, yes. Literally, I'm like, whoo. I was like, what child was I thinking? But so, okay. So first thing was having a clear plan to get to the airport. And this
Mm.
involves even when, because at this time we actually did plan and we had like a shuttle service pick us up, things in that manner. But everyone wasn't on time and everyone was there. They weren't lack of there. They were there, but either they were last minute packing, last minute trying to figure life out. I don't even know. I can't even tell you. But, and making sure that you are at a situation where you're going to make a call and you're like, I'm gonna meet y'all at the airport.
Mhm.
And if y'all and here's the information that y'all need when y'all get there, because that was my mistake. I was like, oh, whatever. We're just waiting around. Oh, it was a few extra minutes, X, Y, Z. I already know. They tell you get to the airport this many hours early. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, come on, people, come on. The transfer company here. We're here. We're waiting for everyone else to get in. So none, needless to say, we had a connecting flight, missed the connecting flight, then missed our second connecting flight, got to our destination hours late. I'm pretty sure I didn't really say much at all because I was just like,
Yeah.
yep. I
Like I
said,
have
yep.
words for you, but
I literally was like, you know what? I will pay either for an Uber or I will drive myself to the airport. Y'all can take this transfer, and whenever y'all get there, y'all get there. But I'm
Mhm.
already be at the airport. Here's all y'all paperwork. Because I was like, here's your paper. Next time, I was like, nope. I was like, it ain't happening again. And from that day forward, when there was hesitation in people, I was like, okay, I'll meet you there. Here's
Mhm.
the information. I'll meet you there. I'll either see you on the plane or I'll see you in the destination. But I ain't
Right.
waiting for you.
Yeah.
The second thing is at the time we were going to an island, so they have the option where this particular resort had the option where you can do like an all-inclusive or you can do like just they call it EP plan, which pretty much just you pay as you go. This was like very, very early. This is like very early in my like travel journey, at least my international travel journey. And we were sharing a room. So for the sake of cost, obviously all inclusive is higher price. So we're like, okay, you guys want to share a room? We won't do the all inclusive. We'll do the regular one because it worked better for their cost, things of that matter. Well. So talking about you don't realize how much you will be spending when you don't have all inclusive at these places. And I ain't even talking about the
Mhm.
drinks. I'm just talking about the food. It's
Mhm.
like, I mean, the
Mhm.
drinks are a whole other thing. But I was like, and literally, and I kind of almost set that as like a focus point, even when I tell a lot of my talk to my like colleagues, because I'm like, what are you looking for? Because
Mhm.
that makes a difference. Because if you are looking for something that's all inclusive, this is what you want. Even for the sake of cost wise, it doesn't even pan out. Like it doesn't even match apples to apples because you have breakfast, lunch, dinner. Even if you don't even eat some of the meals, just the additional money you're gonna be spending out,
Mhm.
it does make a difference.
Yeah.
And I will actually add there, because this particular trip, there's actually three things that I said I would never do again. So the third thing was, this is when I started realizing that I looked to make sure the resort was good, that I liked the resort, things matter. I didn't look too much of the amenities in terms of when restaurants
Mhm.
close, how many restaurants they had, all that stuff. And they seem like small details, but they make a huge difference while you're actually there. Because
Mhm.
at this particular place, everything closed by like 8:30, maybe 9, everything. So you could
Mhm.
even get a glass of water. Like it
Mhm.
was the so I
Swallow your
was so
saliva.
so it literally it would be like a half an hour or 15 minutes too, and you see us like going downstairs trying to get like 3 glasses of something to drink and just put it in the refrigerator so that if we happen to get parched in the middle of the night, because they didn't even have room service at this hotel. This is when
Mhm.
I this is how you were like, I understand there's certain things that are small differences, but they make a huge difference when you're traveling.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
I was like, so then you're looking at from like 9 p.m. until I think 7 a.m. No food, drink service, no nothing on the or at the hotel. So if you happen, in the 1 o'clock in the morning, you're a little parched, you need something to drink. I mean, you got the ocean, but I don't think it's good to drink it. So
Right.
so it's just one of those things. So those were three things, and I was like, and it's so funny because ever since then, my entire perspective of even traveling, and on top of that, when I was telling like my friends and my family and orchestra, it was one of those things where it's like they happened that one time and they never happened again.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Never, like all one, two, and three, never.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
were like, it was like they were drilled in my head. That could have been 10 years ago, 12 years ago. They were drilled in my head to never ever happen again because I will, nope. And you see, when you asked me that question, it came, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yep. I
No, I
had it.
saw it. I was like, oh,
I was
like,
like,
okay.
you would think it happened yesterday, but no, it happened years ago. It is still is up there. So
Yeah.
definitely, but those are also things when I relate to not only my team, but also to my clients, because
Mhm.
these are things that some people don't really think about until you bring it. They're like, that's actually a really good question. And then I'll tell them like, okay, because I was in this situation. And I'll be honest with you, I thought it was, oh, it's not that big a deal until you're on vacation. So you're like, oh, like I get more drink service at home than I do when I'm at this hotel because I'm like I got a refrigerator that got drinks in it. So I'm like, y'all don't got a vending machine? No, okay.
They were like,
So
no, figure it out.
it's like I was like, oh,
We're doing
okay.
the bare
So
minimum.
exactly. So those are definitely something. And again, they're life lessons. They happen,
Yeah.
but they also make sure that not only do I not make the same mistake, but I make sure that none of my clients and also making sure that my team also don't make the same mistake either. Yes. So yeah, so I actually do have some questions for you. So my first question is can you share a pivotal moment in your journey that shaped who you are as a leader?
That's a great question. I feel like there are a lot, especially when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And I guess, like, I would say that, like, not even just necessarily a moment itself, but I feel like this is a very constant, which is like always learning and always growing. So it's kind of like, especially whenever you're dealing with like things going wrong, like, like having clients upset at you or like customers upset at you and just like trying to like navigate that world so that it's kind of like okay, just know that like I definitely want to make sure that you're good and taken care of, but like also like let's just make sure that the business is also running kind of thing. But I would say, yeah, like I would say most of like my moments are really more around when things go wrong, like than anything. So for example, I still remember even like someone placing an order and like the machine was not necessarily working. And so like I just kept accidentally sending them like a whole bunch of like UPS tracking codes back to back to back. And like poor person was just like, "Oh my God, this is too much." Sending me like it sent me an email just being like, "What is going on?" I had to go out and explain it. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history because thank goodness she was a return customer. But like as far as like leadership, I think that these kind of moments help me in terms of leadership because of the fact that it's kind of like just being able to take accountability as soon as something happens,
Yes.
like, and just being able to put on that cap and just being like, let me try and figure it out. Let me fail forward if I need to, but like I need to get things done. So
Yes.
I would say that. Yeah.
No, and I like that. And you actually said two really good parts. Points to that where the one is the customer service. That's a huge one. That's one that literally I say, even in general, and I say customer service because having customers are one thing, keeping your customers are completely different.
Yes.
And that is a huge thing. And that's what and a lot of people don't realize that it those are like to me, I'm grateful for all of my clients, no
Yeah.
matter how, whether I work with them each year, every 3 years, or they just check in just to say hi. I'm
Mhm.
grateful for all of them because we couldn't be where we are now without them.
Right.
And that is one thing that I feel like a lot of people, some people learn later in their career, some people learn
Mhm.
earlier, but it's so important. And then, oh,
And
sorry.
oh, sorry.
There you go.
No, even like to go off of that, like I really do feel like even though like because I like making sure everything is like good to the best of my abilities, like it is one of those things that when things do go wrong, like I take that really like of course initially I'm just like, "Oh my God, why me?" But like I
Oh,
also
yes,
take it
I'm the same.
right? But I take it as the opportunity of going, okay, this happened right now. Thank goodness it's now and not later. Because like then you start worrying about like if this specific situation happened on the craziest day where you have like hundreds of orders versus maybe like tens or twenties, kind of thing. So
hmm
yeah.
Exactly. And the second thing I was about, and like I said, you were just touching on to that is when problems happen, when you're an entrepreneur, you really have to, after you have your moment of like, okay, why is this happening? Because you're like,
Like, why
Lord
me?
have mercy. You're like,
Honestly.
really? And then you're like, okay, you take a pause and then like, let me put this hat on and let me find out the solution. And honestly, that alone, because for in a world that problems always come up, listen, nothing's perfect, nothing is
Right.
flawless. It's how you handle the problems when they do come up. And it's
Hmm.
also the point of being communication with the client that you are
Hmm.
handling it. Not just
Yes.
I'm being like, what's happening, and then you go ghost.
Yeah.
So that's really important, and people like that. And that kind of service is something that people come back to because even if a problem happens, they know they can make sure they can contact you, they can call, or even if it's the touch base, hey, I got this. Did everything get taken care of, or do you still need my help? It goes a long way.
And I feel like just both of us like are very much so invested inside of our businesses to where I feel like in a lot of honestly, yeah, actually, like we are pretty much also our own customers. Like, so
Yes.
it's kind of like we're able to use the customer persona and just be like, okay, this is how I would want it handled
Yeah.
so that I can feel at ease. And so like
Exactly.
that's how like our businesses are able to just like have
Exactly.
like a
Yes.
good little flow, you know? So yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And on top of that, it's also still like it's also still personal too, because you want to make
Yeah.
sure that you're like, okay, you wouldn't want anyone to ever feel a type of way. So you want to make
Hmm.
sure that you're almost there to be there, like, hey, I'm here, I'm handling it.
Hmm.
Please don't
Yep.
worry. I
Yeah.
got it and I'll figure it out. And even if I'm not sure how to figure it out, I will figure out a way to figure it out.
Right,
So
right. It just takes that one touch point. Like I
exactly.
didn't like you said
No.
before, I didn't ghost you. Like I'm here. Like
Exactly. No, but definitely love it. My next question is how has being an entrepreneur changed you personally?
oh, it changed me greatly. Like I said, I mean, outside of what we were discussing before, I would say that like it really gives you a sense of confidence in no other way that you can get it, right?
Mhm.
Because it's kind of like entrepreneurship is one that like where at times you can feel like as if the world is like on top of you kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I would say in terms of like the positives, especially because there's more great than anything with it, I would say it has given me the ability to really come outside of myself because especially you know how like I like to normally be private and just like to my little corner and pop out whenever the time is there. But for example, I'm doing this video now, you know, and like that has been like one of the biggest feats that I've had to accomplish because it is a little strange making a video and then putting it out so that other people can
Mhm.
take in or like judge or like learn from and things like that. I would say that even handling like speaking engagements or, you know, things of that nature where they really take you out of your comfort zone. And I would say that just in general, entrepreneurship is great because it always does take you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like, no matter which area you're looking at it, like positive or like you know, things to be worked on. It's like you're always out of your comfort zone and you're always learning how to adapt quickly and you're always learning to think on your feet. So, yeah.
Yes, and definitely too. And I think a mixture because you also wear so many different hats,
Oh,
especially regardless of who you have working with you, what kind of team. You're always wearing hats
yeah.
regardless. So
Yeah.
you're
Yes.
always developing new skills, which also is good too because you're also having
Yeah.
personal growth at
Hmm.
the same time with it. But yes, even with the same thing you said with the video, believe me, because that was me in the beginning of my or I think last year, last summer, the beginning that was a big thing because you're like, you put me in a room and talking to people. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I got this. You put me, oh, okay, I got this. Here, I'm like,
Yeah.
why does it feel so different? Like, I'm like, it's a video.
So foreign. And it's just like, why?
It's a video. But then when I kind of was like, okay, I was like, I have a lot of information. I have a lot of
Yes.
expertise. And to share that with people and to have people know different things. And then also the amount of people who just reached out, whether it was for meetings or appointments, and just to be able to help them, it
Hmm.
make a difference. And once I kind of, it's same thing, kind of getting out of my own head. Once I got out of
Yeah.
my own head, which is a process, believe me, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But it was also the support of everyone around me that I
Hmm.
was like, okay. I was like, okay, in my head is literally where it is, just in my head.
Emphasis, no, truly though, like heavy emphasis on like getting out of your own head because we've definitely had a lot of conversations about it before where we're like, it's crazy how much like once you just do the jump and you take the leap, like you're able to do so much and you're kind of like, what was I worrying about to begin with? You
Yes,
know,
yes.
like it's just like this thing is so like small now compared, but like you just needed that one moment to start. And then that's when
Mhm.
we start realizing like it's all in my head. Just do it at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then my last question for you is how do you stay motivated on tough days, and what advice would you share with others in similar situations?
Honestly, I would say that I am pretty big on nature and self-care. Okay. Like,
Amen.
yeah.
Well, to the
Because
self-care part, not the nature, the self-care part.
you're like, hold on, asterisk. But like, because as you said, like there are days where you're not feeling super motivated. But like for me, what I like to do is take advantage of the blank space time. So that's the time where even if it's not nature, like just like, for example, cleaning and just like having like different ideas or just hearing nothing
Yes.
basically.
Or
Or
going for
like
a walk
going,
too. I love going
yes,
for a walk, going to the
yeah,
park, especially on the nice days. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
They're
And for
like
me,
mind clearing.
it's like you throw in some water in somewhere,
Hmm.
especially in a hiking spot. Oh my goodness, like forget it. Like
And you're
I'm
like,
good
oh,
to
it's
go.
done. It's done. Everything
Yeah.
else, forget about. Everything else I left back at the house.
No, and that's why, like, when you were talking before about even planning self-care, like, that was one of the things where I was like, that's not talked about often, is the fact that you do have to also, like, make sure you carve out time for that. Because other than that, you're just gonna burn out. Like, and it's like we
Girl.
don't always have like the answers for everything, but we have at least like certain answers that can actually help us, like each individually. And it's just about tapping into that. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And honestly, you hit it right there when you said about the burnout because when it's entrepreneur, but also just being a professional in any
Yes.
industry,
Yes.
sometimes you get so hooked with what has to get done, tasks, due dates, projects, all these things. And then when you realize it, you're like, oh, I want my Saturday, but then your Saturday is stuck trying to catch up from stuff you didn't finish during the weekday. And then
Hmm.
you're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it. And then sometimes it gets to the point where you don't even talk about self-care. A lot of
Yeah.
self-care
Yeah.
is not even on the schedule. Like you
Yeah.
got you got family time, you may have like, work time, you may have your business time, whatever. But self-care isn't even on the schedule. Like it's like
Hmm.
not even existent. And honestly, it's so important. And it's so important not only just for yourself, but for your mind. It
Hmm.
really does because when you have the self-care, it opens your mind to be able to think more, to be more creative, and also for your own mental and physical well-being, it
Hmm.
really helps for that.
And I feel like the all-encompassing like theme, I feel like when it comes to this, especially like motivating yourself, is just consistency. Because if you already have like certain plans of things that like you're like, fine, I need to get it done, but like, doing it in a healthy way. Because
Yeah.
again, we're not trying to like get to the point of burnout to the best of our abilities. But like, it is one of those things that that there are certain things that you have to do every single day. And even if it is like, and even including actually like the whole like part of self-care where you're like, okay, I know that this is what is needed for me to actually like perform the best or get back to like a place where I'm at least semi-motivated because
Yeah.
maybe you might not be at 100, but at
Yeah.
least, you have to
Yeah.
get it done.
Yes,
So, yeah.
exactly. And honestly, that's also too how when you're working so much and burnout, you
Hmm.
need those self-care because burnout can also kind of like almost lessen how much motivated you are because you're
Yes.
so busy and so busy. When you
Yes.
have that time to step away, time for
Hmm.
yourself, and I say yourself very, very, very clearly because having self-care for your family, for your kids, for your loved ones, that's something totally different. You're talking about
Hmm.
self-care for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yes.
That right there opens up for you, for your own
Hmm.
mental health, well-being. And this is whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a professional, whether
Hmm.
you're a caregiver, whoever, whatever it is, having that really is. And it's also for longevity too. It helps you
Hmm.
stay more lively or helps you be more motivated into doing what you're passionate about and what you want to do in life itself.
And lastly, on tapping even on what you were saying, which is that analogy of like, whenever we're on planes, I mean, hello, your luxury travel. But whenever we're on planes, they like the attendants always tell you to put the mask on yourself first
Yes.
before you take
Oh,
care of
yes.
others. So it is one of
Mm-hmm.
those things where it's like
Yes.
energy really transfers
Oh,
also,
oh,
like so it's kind of like
100%.
make sure you're taking care of yourself so that
Yes.
you're not like taking
Huh?
it out on like the wrong areas or messing things up even more than it had to be. So yeah.
Exactly. And it literally goes to that saying, you can't help others if you're not helping yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
That is 100% what it is.
Yeah.
You can't at all. But oh my gosh, those questions were amazing. But to
Oh,
end us
thank
off, I just so you guys can get to know us on a fun level. First, I'll go with you. What's
Okay.
a fun fact that you would want people to know about you, or facts if you have more than one?
I feel like I might have more than one, but I don't know
I sure
necessarily if
do.
I want, but I feel like the tamest would be that I do speak three languages pretty much natively. Okay, so I speak French, Creole, and English. Like I love how English was the last one, but natively as I'm Haitian. But I like to dabble into my little baby Spanish, which clearly is not native for me, but like I try, like hola,
Almost
¿cómo
enough to get
estás?
by. Almost enough to get by.
Yeah, enough to at least like have someone open the door and then start questioning like what. But I would definitely say that. And my guilty pleasure is definitely watching Arthur and reruns of Titanic. Like you can't.
That's bringing back to childhood. Oh
Yes,
my
yes.
goodness.
Oh, come on, Ty. Every day
Again,
when you're walking by the street,
yes.
yeah, that should be. Listen, it always puts you inside of a good little
Yes.
time. Yeah.
You start getting flashbacks of your childhood and
Let
the
me
good
tell
moments.
you. Yeah. And I mean, I know for the Titanic, though, I definitely annoy everyone around me because, like, they're just like, how many times can this boat sink? And I'm just like, as many times as I rewind it, as far as
Pretty
I'm
much,
concerned.
yes. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, rewind. And now you're like, didn't we just watch this? You're like, yeah.
Yeah. It's like what we kind of did, but, we're just missing a little something. There was a little nuance there. But how about for you?
So for me, okay, so I have two favorite t TV shows, despite the fact that I was born in the 90s. They are nowhere close to the 90s. But my two favorite TV shows are I Love Lucy
Ooh.
and Murder She Wrote. I Love Lucy, I can watch it 100 times, and I will literally be dying laughing on the couch like I've never seen this episode before, and I'm like
Mhm.
still dying laughing. And Murder She Wrote, she's just a glad like I'll watch it. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'll watch some of these episodes probably at least 100 times. And I'm like, how did I miss that? Like what was I doing? I've seen this episode before. But I definitely truly love it. And another thing for me is I'm a really big Disney lover. I will be the person at Disney with the Disney ears and the thing
Mhm.
with or without a child next to me. It don't make a difference because
You know?
it's Disney.
Yeah.
Like it's Disney. So I'm just like, I am a huge Disney fan. I will be 90 years old and still being a Disney fan. That will never leave me. So
Oh no, like I just want to make sure that everyone knows she is not kidding. There was a trip that we took before and I saw her like decked out in all Disney
Mhm,
like
yeah,
memorabilia and I
yes.
was like and
Yeah.
like like because I'm like I didn't even know they did this, but like it was gorgeous. Yeah.
Yes, 110%.
Mhm.
But I do want to thank you guys so much
Ooh,
for being here with us,
yeah.
staying. We have so much in store this year. We have so many amazing, bold, amazing, inspiring leaders that are going to be here on this platform each and every month. And we can't wait to show them to you. In
Yeah.
addition to that, definitely in the description below, you will see all the links. You will see the links for our newest platform, which is Authentic Ambitions Global. So the Instagram link is in the description. You'll also have the links to both of our social medias as well as our websites as well. Definitely don't forget, make sure you like and subscribe this video and channel so that you can stay tuned for all the amazing things we have coming up for you. And definitely, we can't wait to see more of you. If you have an amazing day, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye.